Hello again, everybody. I'm John Henderson Pierre, Gene Henderson Pierre with the Beer and TV review, looking at Miller Lite. Made his debut. Many will debate. Some say it's 1978, but he made his debut in 1975. It's one of the most popular beers right now. One of the most popular beers in America. Pouring in my little glass here, 16-ounce can. Very thirsty. Been outside right now. Been doing some yard work. So, like I said, it was introduced in '75, but really on certain markets, but really began to take notice mostly across the country about 1978. Of course, it was at the time when people loved beer, but they wanted not much calories, and were began to watch their way. This is around the mid '70s, the whole health movement that we began to see at the time. I wasn't born yet. I was only born in 1976, but it was called Gallenberg Burger, if I'm correct pronouncing Gablinger. Let me say that again. Gablinger Diet Beer, and it was developed in '67, and then by then Miller took over. Got some roosters in the background. Got a pool in the right now. It's getting cleaned up, as you can see. I'm outside. Introduced in '75. Most light beers range between 3 to 4.6%. This one is, I believe, at 4. Oh, light is at 4.2%, which most light beers are. A light pilsner, of course. They are the fourth best-selling beer in America, with $2 billion in sales. What can you say about this beer? Beer gets a lot of gets no love from any of the beer review sites, particularly Rate Beer doesn't look at again most of the time looks down at this beer. Um, Beer Advocate gives it, I think, a poor score. I believe it was a 43. I could be wrong, but oh well, it is what it is, right? Um, again, as we said, the around the mid '70s on this whole health kick. Let's get healthy. Let's start taking care of ourselves, looking good, looking decent, and whatnot. And at the time, a lot of these beers were, very popular, and they began to really begin to. Natural Light was the next one that came on the scene that did very well. That was sort of a premium beer at the time. That was introduced in '77. Of course, Miller Lite. The big success of Miller Lite has been its advertising. You had a lot of the pro athletes, pro stars, movie stars. You may remember Tastes Great, Less Filling, coaches, from John Madden, Dick Butkus, Bubba Smith, Rodney Dangerfield, Bob Uecker, L.C. Greenwood, all these football players, former baseball players, commentators, announcers would do a lot of these, funny, gimmicky commercials, and talked about sort of the benefits of like how they like beer, but they trying to make sure they don't want to put a lot of weight on themselves. And Schlitz also came out with a beer, Schlitz Light, you may remember. Um, I think the advertising has been probably the biggest success of this. As you see, their cans. You see the reintroduced these cans, and these cans were brought back in 2011 or 12, 2000, excuse me, 2012 or so, or 13. I know during the filming of the second Anchorman movie with Will Smith, with Will Ferrell, I should say. They brought these. They had these little retro cans. By the Miller Lite had left the retro cans, went to these blue cans, blue and yellow labeling, sort of italicized. letters, but the retro cans have come back, and thanks to the movie Anchorman 2, you know, these cans were brought back to life again, and which, not to mention the cans, but also some of the logos of Miller Lite, you know, so brought back the nostalgia. And we see, and it's just been one of the big success stories of Miller Lite. But again, doesn't get a lot of love in the beer community. Um, these things sell, Great Beer, Beer Advocate, the craft beer guys spit on this beer. Don't give a shit about it. Um, I like it. I don't buy it all regularly in terms of light beers. If I do, I'm getting sort of the premium. I mean the budget or value price beers, whether it be Old Milwaukee Light, which they don't sell much here. Um, you sometimes get in 6 packs, but very rarely they sell it. But if you do, in certain places they do sell it here in Mobile. And maybe I know they have 3 places they do sell it, but it's way out a distance for me to get it. Um, uh, Busch Light, Milwaukee's Best Light, which is a beer that I buy very much regularly every day. High Life Light. Um, It's making Milwaukee's Best Light is, of course, there. That's the little big the little brother of Miller Lite. That's their premium beer, Milwaukee's Best Light. But um, Natural Light, of course. But those are the most of the value price light beers I will tend to get, in quantities, and share with my friends or with my significant other and just to hang out. Lately, I've been drinking a lot of light beers because of health concerns. I'm getting older now. I want to start looking better. So, but in any event, Miller Lite. It says a fine Pilsner beer, as they say. Sell quantities of this every day. Go to the stores. There's like shelves of it. To the WalMarts, to the Rouses and whatever. I mean, they just by the truckloads. Miller Lite, Miller Lite, Miller Lite, Miller Lite. Busch Light, Busch Light, Busch Light. Coors Light, Coors Light, Bud Light, Bud Light. I mean, just quantities of it. Mostly it's all light beers. And again, as I said, look at the top 20 beers by sales here in the United States. All of them, about 6 or 7 of them are all light beers. And I like it. Good with barbecue. A nice cheeseburger, pizza. It's it's very well done. And notice with Miller Lite lately, even though they had a lot of these, their cans, with their advertising, as of recently, they've been doing some clever advertising. Unlike Bud Light, they do like what down for whatever ads, where in versus Bud, where they're kind of dissing the craft beer industry, where um, Miller has not taken that approach, and where Anheuser-Busch has sort of attacked the craft beer folks. Miller has sort of kind of distanced themselves from that, and they just say, hey, we're a fine Pilsner beer, we're a great beer, Miller Lite, Miller High Life, genuine draft. They just tout their beers and saying what it is. They're not sort of making any response or challenges to the craft beer industry. They're kind of like saying, okay, I know they're around, but we know our fans, we know our consumers and our buyers, and they'll be with us and stick with us through the duration. Yes, they'll drink craft beer, and oh well, they'll drink craft beer, but our customers will always come back to us no matter what, and that's is Miller's sort of theme. What the Miller Lite commercials I've seen has been mostly about fun and I want a Miller Lite, and you see a lady doing something or a guy doing something, and they got the 16-ounce cans, or they got the bottles or whatever, hanging out with friends and enjoying a Miller Lite. So, they're not attacking the craft beer industry as Anheuser-Busch InBev is doing. But in any event, let me wrap this up here. Scale 1 to 10 for this beer. I'm giving this beer an 8 for a light beer, light lager. Again, it's not one of the beer that I get frequently, but it has its place and it's okay, it's decent, but not an everyday beer for me. But that's just my opinion. In any event, leave your comments and your opinions and your thoughts at the bottom. I'm John Henderson Pierre, the TV and Beer Ramble, saying keep watching and cheers.